Well, when we got done with the series against St. Thomas, which was a very physical series, we needed to take some time off. So over that week, I think we skated 4 days in six and took two off. So recovered physically, gave the guys opportunities to get caught up on their academics. Also had some opportunities to get on the road recruiting and then spend some time individually with our guys, just hearing some things that they wanted to talk about and see what their perception was of how they're doing, and whether that's on the ice, in the classroom, or others. And so it was a real good week for us. I think the guys came back on Monday energized. We've had a good week of practice up until this time and are really focused at trying to get back to our game as soon as we can. We're going to be playing a team that I think is really motivated, a team that's obviously a handful offensively. They've got some very gifted forwards, and they're playing real well right now. So it's going to be a tough out. We're going to have to earn everything we want to get to here in our own building on Friday and Saturday against Northern.
Great, thanks for that. We have a couple of people joining us via Zoom, but we have Kevin Dudley from the Mankato Free Press and Mary Rominger from KYC. We'll start off with a question from Kevin Dudley.
Looking at your schedule, I know it's a long season. I can't help but notice it seems like there's 5-week increments, kind of 5 to start, then the off week, another 5. Then I think out of the holiday break, it's another 5 for an off week in February. Is that 5 weeks? Is that kind of a number that you and Tom have kind of come up with as a good maybe place for that break? In that long season for the guys.
Yeah, sometimes it falls that way, and again, you don't get to dictate that. Year in and year out. I like the way it is right now. I've always thought about a 6 weekend segment is when your guys start to tail off a little bit. I think it can be detrimental if you have to go longer than that. But again, sometimes the schedule dictates that and how it falls out from the league. Really, from our standpoint, it was a good time for a break. For multiple reasons. And so we want to take advantage of that and now try and hurry up and get back to a start. You come out of an off week, you're always worried about that first period, first 10 minutes, because you can't replicate what happens in a series in an off week. So it was a good time for us.
To jump into it with David Cilia, what do you see from him behind the scenes of his leadership, the way that he's grown from year 1 to year 2 with MSU, and his overall progress from specifically last season?
Yeah, just continued maturity. And David's done a phenomenal job, I think, on his dailies. He finished as well as anybody we had coming back, returning to our team. You look at his impact in the Frozen Four. Really over the back third of the season, he played some of the best hockey that he's played for us, and now he's started and continued that. And I think a lot of that was preparation and work that he did this summer. I think he has aspirations to try and play at the most elite level that he can get to. And with that, he understands there's a lot of work that has to go into it. All the things that he can control, he's doing a good job of controlling right now, and being an everyday type of player, doing well in school. He's got a great balance to his life right now, and I think he's being rewarded for that.
Carson Bulow from the MSU Reporter.
Coach, slow starts have been something that sort of plagued the team so far this year. And coming off a bye week, do you expect that to sort of happen a little bit in Friday's game, or how have you been working to eliminate any rust heading into this weekend?
Well, just tried to. I agree with you. It's been a little bit of an issue for us. I mean, we've had a couple other times where we've started real well and then kind of taken the foot off the gas. So getting to our 60 full minutes or 65, whatever it takes, is something that we're still in pursuit of, and trying to get to that full 60 to 65 minutes and dictate what we get to dictate. So we talked a little bit about it, but it's not something we're dwelling on. I think after the 5-game segment, you turn the page. We've talked about some things that we want to get better at. That's one thing, and we'll be able to see that on Friday.
Go ahead.
I'll ask about David. last year he came in, I know it was later, but it didn't take long, it seemed like, for him to earn your trust. Notter had him on the PK early. You used him in some really big face-off situations early last year. But then the offense, I thought, came toward the end of last year, and now this year, coming off what last weekend was massive, 5 goals, I think. Is that offensive game like that? Is that a role that you want to put him in a position where he can contribute more and more to that this year like he has?
Absolutely. He's earned the opportunities that he's gotten up until this point. And the thing I like about it is he's starting to do it every day in practice. Today we ran a simulation of some 6-on-5, and he goes in and throws one bar down, and I think he's just playing with a boatload of confidence right now. Offensively, defensively, he wants the minutes. He's able to physically manage those minutes, and we're going to need him to continue to progress like that if we're going to finish where we want to finish.
Tim Rappley, give you the opportunity to ask a question here if you'd like to.
Yeah, Coach, just going to talk about the fact that you've met this team in the CCHA or WCHA semifinals. Do you expect them to be around for the long haul, Northern?
Absolutely. I think they're, you talk about putting together a team that is sustainable, is successful at the most important time of the year, and you look at some things that stick out, I think, like a sore thumb. Their goaltender's playing as well as anybody in our league between the posts. So you start with your goaltender. Their power play is, I think, top 7 or top 8 in the country. Their penalty kill, again, top 15 in the country. So when you start looking at special teams, they're one of the best teams in the country on both sides of that puck. Good goaltending, and then they've got some elite offense. When you have somebody that's averaging what Vanderbeck and that group, and Gantos and Schlane, who's come in as a transfer and had the impact that he's had. They've got some elite players up front, and so I think they're a pretty complete team. And then you put on top of that, I think Grant does a really good job. I think he's a heck of a coach. Like their staff, respect their staff. They're going to be prepared coming into our building, and it's a building that they've had success in, so they're not going to be intimidated at all. They're going to come in here with the idea of they want to win 2 hockey games.
Kevin Dudley and then Carson Bulow.
I thought it was interesting. He said David put one bar down. His ability to shoot the puck, I think against the Gophers last year, he had a pretty high-profile corner that he picked in a really big game. But we've seen this year, he's a guy that can really shoot the puck, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd like to see him do it a little more. As and David, I think when he first got here, we had talked about what his role might be when he first walked in, and that's evolved. He did, he came in and he was a guy that really centered our third line, did a great job killing penalties, was a good guy on the dish, and then just went to work. And towards the end, earned penalty kill time, earned some secondary power play, and right now he continues to take advantage of his opportunities. So, yeah, I'd like to get him to continue to shoot it a little bit more.
Carson Bulow.
Coach, we talk a lot about Cilia, but last weekend we got to see some of the younger guys like Fitzgerald and Wilson really step up and start to make a name for themselves. Is that something we can expect to see a little bit this weekend? Seeing those guys get some more key minutes and maybe get on the power play and some of those top units.
And they're going to have some opportunities for that. I think they've earned it. And I'll use your point of last weekend when they had the opportunities. They were very successful at producing. When we started the game in St. Thomas, Fitzgerald goes out and takes one to the net. Furry scores the goal with an assist to Fitzgerald, and then not long after that, Fitzgerald grabs a puck after filling in for Bellini back at the point and comes down just inside the dots and goes bar down. I think he's a young man that is starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in the college game. And then Luciano Wilson, a power play guy that I think is going to have that opportunity this weekend. They've earned it. And so from my standpoint, I'm hoping they can continue and gain some confidence from what happened previous to our week off.
We saw Sam Morton get injured against St. Thomas, and Akito I didn't think played the second game, and Bennett hasn't played yet this year. Any update on those guys' status ahead of this weekend?
Yeah, Bennett won't be available this weekend, and Mo won't be available this weekend. And who's the third one you asked about? Oh yeah, Kato's good. Yep.
Last question to you, if you have one.
Just you were talking about statistics. How you guys do in the face-off? How big a priority is that working on draws in your practices?
It's big, and if you've watched some tape and you look at those same numbers, Tim, Northern's neck and neck with us. You can tell that they take great pride in their face-offs, their face-off intensity, and their ability to create offense and possession numbers starts with their face-offs. So yeah, I think it'll be a big thing this week, and it is every weekend for both teams that end up playing. But I've got a lot of respect for what they do because they're right there, right with us.
Yeah, no, much needed weekend off there, and we tried to take full advantage. Did a couple team bonding things, went bowling together, and it was fun. We took full advantage and got a little closer as a team.
Okay, so Kevin Dudley from the Free Press is here in person. Tim Rapoli and Carson Bulow via Zoom. We're going to start off with a question here from Kevin Dudley.
You mentioned your dad had credited a natural hat trick to you when you were younger that you didn't remember. Did any conversation more about that in the last 2 weeks? Has there been any clarity on if last weekend was the first one?
Yeah, he actually, it's funny enough, when that did happen, the parent made sure to just give him the video and the score sheet. So kind of cool. He's got that somewhere in the archives. So it wasn't credited as the first one, but it's still fun to revisit that.
Go ahead.
Just coming off a weekend like last weekend, I think that every year guys' roles evolve, and I think maybe that's happened for you. How fun is it coming to this building every day, knowing penalty kill, now power play, all three facets? Is that something you take pride in?
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunate enough to be in this building a lot in the first half, and you work hard to earn those opportunities, and I've been fortunate enough to find myself in those, and keep working along with my teammates. They push me, and hopefully I push them. So it's definitely something you take pride in, but something that you don't take for granted.
Carson Bulow.
David, from a player's perspective, having this off week at a really key point, a lot of guys banged up. Meanwhile, Northern's been able to go out and have a test against Bemidji. How important is it to get out to a fast start now, especially this weekend, not being able to play at all?
Yeah, there's nothing that really replicates, playing 2 games on a weekend. So that weekend off, you might be missing the legs a little bit. So yeah, I think that's the game plan. Get in the game right away, get as much of our legs into it, and get back in the groove. And like you said, they're a hot team coming in, so we got to be ready.
Tim Rapoli, do you have a question for David Cilia?
I do. David, when you transferred towards Mankato, did you expect to be in this kind of leadership role and carrying the load the way you are?
I think I've kind of said it before, a lot of unknown. I knew I wasn't happy at Clarkson, and I realized that no matter what position I found myself in somewhere else, it was going to be a little better. And been very fortunate to be in the position that I am, and taking it day by day and just taking it all in and enjoying it.
Your offensive game, I think last year you come in, you're immediately killing a lot of penalties. You've got the third line center role locked down. Now this year, I feel like that's kind of evolved some. Do you enjoy getting the opportunity to contribute more in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to. Everyone loves scoring goals and getting points. It's part of the whole. That's the whole point of the game. So, I've been fortunate enough to be clicking with my line mates right now, and Cade Borchert and Josh Gross. So, we're just kind of keep going in practice and carry it in the weekend, and hopefully we can keep contributing.
You had a pretty high-profile snipe against the Gophers in the Frozen Four last year. I think we've seen some really nice shots from you this year picking corners. Coach said you just went bar down in a drill today. He also said he's been getting on you to maybe shoot it a little more. Is that something that is maybe going to be a point of emphasis going forward, trying to look to get that shot off even more to score more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that was kind of missing in my game previously was that shot first mentality, and something that I've been working a lot on, especially in practice, to get a shot off and get it on net, and hopefully create things around the net. So, like you said, it's definitely going to be something in my head moving forward, and something I'll definitely keep working on.
Kevin, do you have another question before we wrap it up?
Sure.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Tim.
Sorry to jump in.
That's okay.
David, you don't have that many more games at home this year. They're all on the front end. How important is it for you guys? Do you have a sense how important it is to defend home ice?
Absolutely. We take pride in the fact that this is a hard building to come in and steal a win from us, and we're going to continue with that mentality. I think we feed off our crowd and we get great support. So like you said, take full advantage of the home ice that we get in the first half, because it's going to be rare in the second half here.
Kevin Dudley.
Last year you come in and you was late, and you got an opportunity right away, and it seems like you were able to pounce and never give it back. How thankful, I guess, are you for that, and what do you feel like it says kind of about the culture's, I guess, the program's culture, that you're able to come in so late and get an opportunity like that so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, definitely gratitude to be put in that position and really given a shot. I think some teams will tell you what you want to hear, but right from the get-go, the coaching staff was dead honest, and makes it easier for a player coming in. You don't get your expectations somewhere else, and it made it easy just to come here and work. And you're right from when I got here, the way the other guys worked, I knew if that's the position I want to find myself in, it wasn't going to be easy. And like I said before, I think we had a great team last year that pushed me and hopefully push the rest of our team, and that's what we're trying to do this year as older upperclassmen, is trying to push the young guys to feel that same, be in that role as well.
Change gears a little bit here. David, your dad's a former CFL player, the Grey Cups in Regina this weekend. You got Toronto versus Winnipeg. You follow along with that stuff at all?
I do, yeah.
Playing for the Argonauts, or what do you think?
I don't. He's a little upset. I think it was funny. He was in town for the Calgary game against the Lions, and they lost. But he really liked the BC young quarterback. So I think is the first game that he saw the Lions QB, he bought tickets to the Grey Cup, wishing to see him. But unfortunately, they lost to Winnipeg there. So I think he's gonna enjoy it. He's still gonna go. He's got his winter jacket, so he's ready. But I don't think he's cheering for anyone.
Might be kind of chilly in Regina on Sunday. Okay, thanks very much, David. Good luck this weekend against Northern Michigan.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, guys.